So, apologies for the state of the last two episodes. I don't know if you guys got my little message in the middle of that. I figured out the problem. My output had filters on it when I was trying to fix my filters on my mic. And then now, hopefully, we should not get rattling in the sound because it's really cold here, so I don't have my AC on. Although you might be able to hear my PC rattling a little bit, which is something that we might just need to deal with. And so, anyway, I apologize for all of the issues in the past on, like, the sound quality of this recording. And it's unfortunate because it's a game that I can't, like, re-record. And I feel so guilty about it. And I really want to, like, fix the quality of this game and fix the quality of my recording and stuff like that. But there's only so much I can do. So, thank you for your patience. Sorry I didn't check before I recorded last time, but as I said, I was very sick. But yeah, we're gonna jump on into things, and I think I'm gonna do no camera again today. It just feels a little bit better than to be perceived, but I really want to play this game. So, okay, let's jump into things, or we'll just be in the dark. It's fine. I'll just look like a little ragamuffin. This has kind of been my, like, Kenny's yelling from downstairs saying you don't look like a ragamuffin, but I'm literally wearing, like, my coziest sweatshirt, and I'm a little gremlin in the dark. With no makeup. And this camera's very unforgiving, but it's okay. We're on day 28. Look at my package! That's so cool. Not gonna lie, the little package here at the beginning is kind of clutch. I don't even kind of remember at all what my goals have been or what my goals are. I know we're missing a red, whatchamacallit. We have 2 sigil rooms that are unlocked. I would love to get Realm and Ruin so that, or not Realm and Ruin. I would love to get the other book from the library, so maybe that's kind of a goal. So maybe that would be a great goal. I kind of wanna, we're gonna plant a dead end right here. I've been getting really bad draws lately, and so I'm kind of hoping to get a little bit better synergy. And, ooh. Okay. And so I'm hoping to see some rooms that we, like, have not seen, because there's a whole bunch of rooms that we haven't quite, like, uncovered in the directory. And so it would be really interesting to do that. I think we finally have all the blue rooms. We need to get the drafting studio again. We're missing one bedroom, which I think I've seen before. That's the master room. We're missing one green room. We're missing one shop and one red room. So I think that we're looking pretty good there. I do want to draw the solarium because we have not done that one yet, but I'm kind of feeling this way. Get our gem back. Let's do the billiard room. And then let's draw here. Kind of want to redraw to see if anything exciting will come up. Nope. It's fine. Since we have a way to the left, let's drop a nursery because we have the mask today. And then we can keep going. Something's telling me to go outside and handle that room first. Look at our steps. We have 90. Ooh, there's a room, an area to blow up in the trading post. We could get a couple special items. We don't have the stuff that we need, and I kind of don't want to trade stuff, so I think we're just going to do this. We don't have the stuff that we need, immediately gets the battery pack, which is arguably one of the hardest to get for the jackhammer. It's fine. I'm so glad that my sound is fixed. I felt so guilty that you guys were like not hearing the ambiance and all you were hearing was the horrible rattle of my AC in the background. Okay. I'm kind of feeling like we go this way. I know that like we were kind of going that way first, but I don't know. Let's go this way. Let's do the breakfast nook. Because we want the key more than we want the gems right now. And then let's see if we could spare room forward or storeroom it up. I think we spare room forward. Oh, here's the morning room. Okay, so no matter what, we're dead ending here. Let's do this to give us more gems tomorrow. And there's sometimes an item in here. Kind of picked up on. This room is so cool. Let's do the chapel, I think. We'll do the bedroom up, but before we go in there, we will draft this room. The courtyard is the best way to go here. I think I'm gonna draft up from here. Partially because it gives me the stuff. Oh, I hate putting the hallway here. But I kind of want to. Yeah, we're gonna do it. And then what I'm thinking is when we draft up, we'll try to link here. So maybe I should go do that now. Yeah. We're gonna do that. We got quite a few steps. We're looking pretty good. Now is the time to turn around, especially because they made a possibility for a linky. The linkage. And we can see what we get here. Ooh, we got a square. 3 squared? Do we do it like this? I would assume so, right? So that's 9. Okay, 3 squared, 9. Minus 1 is 8. Divided by 4 is 2. 3 squared is 9. Times 1 is 9. Times 2 is 18. Okay. Secret garden day. Okay. This is our best option. We do also want to kind of collect as many keys as possible for the basement. Because I do want to go unlock all those boxes. The white box is true. The other 2 boxes are false. The other 2 boxes are empty. These two cancel each other out. So this one can't be true because this one being true would tell it it's false and vice versa. So I'm assuming that, and if this is... So that means that one is false, which we assume is this one, and one is true, so we're gonna just look here. Heck yeah. I love the little tings that happen. Let's do this. Ooh, horrible spot for that. This could be good. The storeroom's good too. We'd get a gem back and we could start an experiment, although the experiments have never helped me. I kind of think we should... let's give ourselves another chance here. And then that way we could take the garage here and get our keys. And then we'll go up and to the left, hopefully. Oh, and we have... Yeah, boy. Silver key. Ooh, we need a shovel. I kind of want to get a commissary too, so that we can try to get some of the stuff to do the burning glass, because we still need to go scorch a sundial. Boop, 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 boop. Do, 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 do. I don't know when my brain was really struggling with that, but it was. My brain was like, does not know where to go, cannot compute. Okay, experiment setup. Continue. Let's do this. Ooh, we could set our dice to 2. That could be nice. Let's do that. Because I don't want to add a bunch of chests to the entrance hall, because we were hoping to get keys so that we could go open those chests down below. Because I want to open them all. There's apparently treasure. Hate that. Hate that. Okay, well, we're putting the dining room here. That sucks. Okay, we're gonna take this. We're not on rank 5 yet, so we will have to come back for this. Oh, the key's always over here. Give me the shovel. No shovel. No nothing. Wow. Okay. Oh, sledgehammer. I was bitching, and I was blind. I deserve that. Okay, now we have a singular way to go north. I'm gonna take the gymnasium. Yeah, worth it. And then we could plant a dead end here, maybe. That sucks. This all sucks. Okay, lose 2 more steps. Okay. Secret garden would be really good, actually. Yeah. Because sometimes... Ooh. Okay, so we need a shovel. I didn't, like... Ooh. I love that we're getting all this stuff for, like, Ooh, I forgot to put a vault key in there. I love that we're getting, like, all of the stuff for the the sledgehammer, and we 110%. Oh wait, what am I doing? Don't need it today. It's fine. We're gonna open the other one too, just to be safe. I mean, there's always no harm in, heading. I always forget which way. I think it's a full 360. Or 180. Oops. We'll find out. Look at me, I was right. Perfect. Now if we want to go get the crown, we can. I think I'm gonna use a regular key, and we'll use our silver key later. Oh, we're gonna need the workshop for surezies. So let's do that. Now! I don't really have any reason to do the sledgehammer and the broken lever. I know that you can do... The things that we need for the burning glass is... Can you pair the running shoes with anything? No. Can you do the compass with anything? What is this? Let's try it. We don't need the battery pack for anything else. And one of the things is to craft all the items. Mechanical rooms. Automatically collect coins and keys when entering a room? Yo, what? That's crazy. Can you put a sleeping mask with anything? Okay. Okay, well, we will hold on to this. Hope we find a key or hit a security room. I don't have any mechanical rooms. We will do this. That's crazy. It just like flipping gives it to me. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, we're gonna go. Let's go up first. Hopefully, I was like, I hope this is locked. It wasn't locked. We'll do this though. That's a great one. Now we have 3. We want the commissary though. We're gonna do the commissary here. We're gonna go see what's in there. We need our magnifying glass and we need our shovel. Heck yeah. Let's get our magnifying glass. I don't really need... I'm gonna hold on to my coins just in case. We'll draft this room when we're here, and then I think we're gonna go back to the secret garden and do some digging. Oh, this sucks. But we can put the utility closet here. We'll turn that off, turn that off, turn that on. Whatever. Okay. Heck yeah. Let's go open our keys. Actually, I think I'm gonna go in here and draft first. And we're gonna turn these off. We're gonna crank this up because we can now turn it to unlocked. And then we'll have way more of those. I forgot what our experiment was for today already. It's fine. Rotunda is not helpful. I guess the coat check? Sure. We're gonna, like, not do anything with that, though. I kind of want to use my silver key here. So we can get like, multiple doors. Ooh. I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm kind of curious what happens, but I don't have... I would have 5, so let's see what happens if there's a 5th one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5. What the heck? So this door isn't like a... Oh, that's right! It said that it had another antechamber lever. Okay, so this one has a left one. That's fascinating. I wonder... Oh, I should have waited. But I don't have any other mechanical doors. The keys for sale might be nice for down below, but I want options to go up. So we're gonna give ourselves a pantry. Hear me out. I don't mind the solarium here because we haven't seen it yet. And we have these 2 unlocked. And honestly, like, I don't really need to get down to the foundation anymore. I can walk back outside. So I want to see this room. Let's do the draw. I do need to craft the armory eventually. This room's so pretty. Oh, there's a more Jai box. I do need to craft the armory eventually, but I don't have a lot of money today. Mr. Nogla, Anne wanted me to remind you once again that it is expected of you to keep the grass in the cloister cut and the tree trimmed. I have a feeling you may have forgotten how to get to the cloister walls again and say that okay. Interesting. We've already kind of figured that out. Oh, and there's like a rook in here. That's cool. Oh gosh, I don't remember what these ones do. Oh, so we want them all to be green? What do the green ones do? Oh, that's right. They switch sides. Okay. Okay. Cool. Perfect. Heck yeah. This is a cool room. And honestly, it has like a really great feature. Let's wrap this room. That sucks. Oh. I kind of want to do the closed exhibit, but all of those rooms are doors are gonna be blocked. But I want to get on the other side of it. Wait, do I have a picture of this? Don't think so. Okay. Okay, I got very distracted. I got so lost in the sauce. long digging animation. Oh my god, so many gems. Okay. How far away is the courtyard? It's pretty close. I might as well, like, go run back and get that quickly. Considering this is turned off. And since I'm back here, I honestly might as well... Let me just, like, look on the best way to get back out of the house. To go back down through the chapel. So honestly, I'm not gonna be heading towards the... Yeah, I should go back to the dining room now. We're gonna have so many steps today. Probably should have waited until I crafted the boiler room, but it's fine, I didn't know. Oh, I wasn't looking for fruit. There's a banana. It's 3 steps. It's not worth a coin to me. Okay, we're gonna go over here. Yeah, I think I need, if I remember correctly, yeah, I need the metal detector. Let's see. I knew it. I had a feeling it was like that room. What? It's 10 seconds? Oh my gosh. And I cut myself off from the foundation. Oh no. Okay. Okay, let's try it. 8, 7, 6. We're not gonna make it. 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, they're back up. What happens if I set it off? Oh, and then it's like locked for the day. Fuck. Maybe we can like redo it. It's fine. It's cool. Interesting. Okay, we're gonna craft up from our pantry. Wait, where am I? I went too far. Let's do the boudoir. I don't really know what my goal is. I have so many steps. I was kind of hoping to get into the library. Let's do the dark room and we'll just go run back or down. And undo that quickly. That way we can craft or draft a little bit more. I'm still kind of like holding out hope that we're gonna find a metal detector. If not, we do have quite a few keys. course I get the key card. And I do kind of want to see if we can get, because we do have the coat check with the vault key. So I kind of want to see if we can get the vault at some point today. So we can open another vault door. Ooh, this sucks. Oh, we can redraw. Let's do it. Okay. Horrible. Let's go for the vault. Let's just try to redraw all the time. We'll redraw to see if we get it. Yeah, boy. Let's go. Okay. Now I kind of wish that I mean, I needed that to take that, but I kind of wish that I took the armory because we're going to have so much money. We're not going to go in there yet. We're going to draft down here, and then we'll go to our coat check. I mean, we're kind of just drafting for fun at this point. Let's just redraw once here. Okay. Why is there always 2 gyms? I never understood that. Or maybe we could do the gift shop. Ooh, let's do the gift shop and we can go get the money and see what we can buy. Because there's some of this I haven't bought. Oh, never mind. I won't be able to purchase that. Okay. We'll redraw once. I guess we'll do this. I can't. What does that mean? Interesting. Okay. Let's go get our... We might be able to get it today. I didn't even walk into that room. We might not be able to get it today. I need like 10, 11 more coins. Let's go to the coat check and get our vault key. Yeah, I'm gonna do that and then we'll be on the other side of the house. Did I get it? What the heck? And then we'll essentially be on the other side of the house because we're pretty much done over here. Unless we find 11 more coins. Let's see if there's randomly 11 more coins that I didn't pick up in here. Okay. But we did discover the information about the crown. There's no way we would have been able to get it today, unfortunately. Okay. It was key 370. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I held on to that one. Thank you again for all your help. I know I could never hope to repay you, but it pains me to know that I won't even have the chance to try. At any rate, I'm leaving these extra funds behind as well as extra passports. It would be too risky if we were searched at the border and the money would raise too many suspicions. I think we all want to start clean anyway. I know I do. Mary. Yo. Have I really gotten no other vault keys in this run? And the one vault key I get happens to be the frickin' sanctum key? Oh my gosh. That was crazy. Okay, we're gonna go get the swimboard plushie. It unlocks dare mode, which I've heard about. I haven't played anything of it. Okay. So we've done that. That's something that I didn't think I would be doing today. I'll come back and coat check something. We for sure need to get down to the foundation. I'm trying to think what else needs to happen. We have the magnifying glass, but we don't have the other stuff that we need in order to do what I want to do. We have like 60 steps. I was like thinking, I was getting nervous for a second. I was like, are we going to be able to go down below? Yes. Yes, sorry. You will. Yes. So it does reset it. Okay, we've learned new information. Let's do... There's not really a reason to draft the green room. Let's do the library, even though we can't get the bookshelf today. But I wanted to read this book. The Curse of Blackbridge. The legend of Blackbridge is one that's well known to the people of Grand Realm, for versions of this tale have been passed down from generation to generation. With each new telling, the story has changed, becoming over the years more colorful, more verbose, and as one might expect, increasingly horrifying. However, with many renditions and unique personal touches, the task of confining and binding this tale to text seemed an ambitious and impossible challenge. Over the course of my research, I had heard dozens of variations of the legend. While the details would often change, I was surprised how much of the story's heart remained the same. Yet the more I listened, the clearer it became that there could never be a definite version of the tale capable of capturing all the wonder and myth of Blackbridge. In the end, I chose to write down what I felt most authentic, the story my grandmother told me as a boy long ago. The Berry Picker from Oris. Many years ago, before peace had become a familiar word, there lived a group of rogues so wayward that the locals deemed it appropriate to call their number the Unholy Hounds. They were feral outlaws composed of society's worst in a time when society was at its worst. For each crime that fearful travelers credited to the group, a dozen more lay unclaimed, each worse than the last. For the gentry, however, who value their coffers more than their companions, no crime could measure more wicked than the group's primary enterprise: high road robbery. One such member of the so-called band of rogues was a boy of 13 years, Jesper, who had not been lucky in life, having lost 2 brothers to war and parents to famine. In the year of hunger that followed, Jesper lived in a gutter behind a churchyard, relying on the nourishment of scurrying bugs and weeds harvested from the cracks of the alleyway to sustain his pitiful existence. It is not surprising that a child aiming to escape such hardship would take an easy road out. An easy and well-traveled road, paved with temptations, leading out of the city and into the gentry lands, where loose purse strings entwined with the strands of salvation and glistened equally with the hope of opportunity. It was this road that eventually led Jesper to the end of his youth, hidden in a cave at the bottom of Blackbridge Canyon. It was here that he met his surrogate family and saviors, the notorious gang of godless outlaws known as the Unholy Hounds. Despite the hardened circumstances that had led him to the vocation of banditry, Jesper was surprisingly tender-hearted and was often teased by the group for being too kind for such an ignoble life. For this reason, Jesper was assigned the innocent role of berry picker. It was not just innocence that set berry picking apart in the gang's more wicked undertakings, for it was the only duty performed without the safety of night's concealment. Jesper, no stranger to solitude, did not protest as he alone worked while others slept soundly, tucked away in the cave at the bottom of Blackbridge Canyon. On one such occasion, Jesper decided to get an early start. He left the cave, berry basket in hand, and set out into the woods before the morning sun had even brushed against the tallest treetops. It was colder in the mornings, but the headway dawn afforded meant Jesper could reach the furthest most berry patches without worry of being chastised for tarrying upon his return. I think this is a long book, so I apologize in advance, guys. What book? Did I take a picture? I did not. I'm going to take a picture quickly of everything. I'm not reading. Oh my gosh, this is such a long book. I am going to read, oh my gosh. I am going to read it all out loud because I know that some people like that. But if you don't want to listen to the whole book, then feel free to skip to when I put the book down. It took over 3 hours on foot to reach his destination, and along the way Jesper had passed by many familiar bush, all priorly pillaged and so bereft of berries that one would have to dedicate several moments in earnest examination before finding a single one. Jesper was patient, but even his patience had its limits. He was confident that even accounting for the time lost to the long stretch of travel, his efforts would be well worth the pains. Surveying the patches in the new grove surprised even Jester. The red dots suspended among the leaves seemed as numerous as the stars in the sky. Upon seeing such a bounteous sight, he clutched his berry basket tightly and nearly toppled over in joy. Once he had regained his senses, Jesper quickly made a decision. He would not reveal the location of this newfound treasure. Instead, he would earn the respect of his confederates who, upon seeing his yield, might attribute the success to hard work. Smiling at his plan, Jesper set off to fill his basket and was making steady strides in this task when the sound of thundering hooves interrupted him. A carriage is approaching. That thought made Jesper freeze. Had he been so enchanted by this discovery that he neglected to observe his surroundings? How could a roadway be so close? He ducked down and crept towards the impending sound, hiding behind one of the larger bushes nearby. It was only a moment before the sound's source revealed itself. Within 50 paces where Jesper hid, an elegant carriage with gold trim came soaring around the corner of trees, led by 2 beautiful white horses and conveyed by a stern-looking driver seated atop the vehicle, flaunting the most sophisticated regalia Jesper had ever seen. It was not just any carriage, it was a royal carriage. Even without having witnessed such a sight before, Jesper was certain. The sight had so transfixed Jesper that he stood astruck, unable to tear away as the carriage approached. The little concealment of the bush provided was soon proven unequal to the driver's lofty perch. Upon spotting the boy, he pulled the reins with such an effect that the noble steed slid to a sudden halt with precise control. Pause. Okay. You, boy, get out from behind that bush, he shouted with rigidity that betrayed a modest amount of fear. You startled me half to death, coming around the bend on my own drive and seeing me such an unfamiliar face in the place where there ought to not be any face. Jesper quickly contemplated running. The man was much older, and his dress was suitable for courtly behavior, not dashing through bramble and mud. I was picking berries. Jesper raised the half-filled basket to allow the driver to see proof of his words. The demeanor of the man suddenly changed. It was a change that Jesper was familiar with. He had many times seen the same stern expression on the most fiendish bandits melt away when presented with the berry basket. Any suspicions that the drivers might have initially had instantly evaporated, for even the notion of the member of the unholy hounds picking berries seemed far crucial. I don't know that word. With a softened expression made many allowances for a smile. Berries, eh? Say, you couldn't have picked a better spot for them, could you? I used to pick berries here as a boy. Jesper took his cue to finally step forward out from behind the bush, proudly brandishing his basket. I know, and what luck I found them. I've only just begun picking, and look how many I have. It would have taken me 4-fold by the time back home to procure this number. The driver bent down for a closer look. And where's your home, boy? It must be quite far. Jesper replied with a scripted response. A little south of Tanner Fork, just past Burnt Woods. My God, that is far. You couldn't have come all this way only this morning. This was true. Tanner Fork was the exact opposite direction that Jesper had traveled, and while a response would seem perfectly reasonable in a location closer to Blackbridge Canyon, he could see why it was less believable here. Sir, I've traveled much further for much less a profit. I dare say there is no distance made by the man that would not be worth the undertaking of a prize such as these. Surely you've tasted them for yourself. Jesper felt happier with the response, as it seemed to amplify the man's smile. In my youth often, but perhaps I took it for granted because I never had to travel very far, and even then my father would always drive us here in our carriage, so I'm ashamed I never had to walk such a stretch to earn an equal reward. It was Jesper's time to smile today. Then let my efforts reward us both today. He raised the basket even higher. A taste in memory of your youth, sir. The driver chuckled and removed one glove, bending over the seat to reach down to the basket. And the moment his fingers touched the first berry, the dagger in turn met his throat, cutting through a superficial layer of skin and drawing blood. Jesper caught the man's startled eyes. "And for that taste, I will have your purse, sir, in memory of my youth." The driver's arm had gone stiff, his chin raised and trembling, more frightened than he ever had been before. Whether unable or incapable of speaking, he did not respond to the boy. Perhaps he did not think his jaw could afford to be engaged in that particular time. Jesper let the basket drop, freeing his other hand to probe the man's pockets. "Do not mistake me, sir. I will not kill you if you give me no cause, though I will admit, the thought of taking your carriage and leaving you the indignity of walking appeals to me." Unable to find a purse in the man's coat, Jesper pivoted to search the seat under him. "Why, you have no purse upon your person." The driver slowly raised his hand cautiously, pointing towards the carriage door behind them. Jesper lowered the knife's edge a small degree to allow the man to speak, which he did in turn softly. "There's a lockbox in the carriage." "Well, come down then, and grant me the courtesy of sparing your life and binding your hands, a concession I assure you in my tender heart, for it would be much easier to slit your throat." The man started to comply, slowly lowering himself from the driver's seat of the carriage. Once down, Jesper guided him away from the carriage to a nearby tree, where he instructed him to get on his knees and put his hands behind his back. Excusing his inexperience, the man indulged Jesper while he figured out how to adequately bind him. The smile and kindness Jesper had seen on the man's face, now nothing more than a distant memory. In their place, cold, dark eyes displaying no emotion. "I wonder, should I grant you the same clemency you are showing me?" Jesper stopped, surprised by the question, but ignored it, securing the final bindings, and then hastily returned to the carriage. With one hand on the door's handle, he turned to the man. "If there is no lockbox, there will be no clemency." Inside the carriage was surprisingly dusty and unswept, a stark contrast to the elegant and polished gold facade of the exterior. It had been here many years since a passenger had enjoyed passage in this vehicle. This all but confirmed what Jesper had suspected. The driver of the carriage was not a liveried servant in employment of some greater master. Any curiosity that this observation might have further produced was quickly abandoned upon seeing what rested under the carriage's back seat, a large wooden lockbox. Despite its hefty appearance, the box was surprisingly easy to handle. Within a few minutes, Jesper had dislodged it from the hold and carried it out into the sunlight. Inspecting the box carefully, 2 observations were made. Totemic symbols found carved on all 4 sides of the box hinted that the box was very old and likely not created by Orindian hands. It reminded him of artifacts from the old world and presumably crafted in one of the ancient realms. Secondly, the box was secured by a rusty yet robust padlock and would not open easily without a key. Jesper looked over to see the driver quietly observing from his indentured position. "Do you perhaps have the key you can provide me to open the box?" Without emotion, the driver replied, "There's no key to the box." Jesper stood up. "Easy enough, then." He headed over to the nearby rock of sizable dimensions and lifted the stone up, carrying it back to the box. There was never a time before that a lock had been resistant to brute force, and it wasn't recent. With one hit, the stone had completely shattered the rusted lock. He bent it back and opened the lid. Inside was an effigy, a crude figure of chiseled from stone. Without too much deliberation, Jesper bent down and picked it up, somewhat surprised how heavy it seemed given how light the box had felt. He had expected to find something more akin to gold or gems, and he looked questioningly at the man, hoping to find an explanation. The driver's smile had once again returned. "You are cursed, boy, for deadly is the stone. You have opened that which should never have been opened, and you are cursed." Jesper carried the effigy over to the man and shoved it in front of his face. "What is it?" "That's one." Feeling his disappointment rising to anger now, Jesper tightened his grip on the effigy. "One what, you mumbling ejector? And, well, don't know what that is. And in God's name, why do you have no purse upon your person?" The man did not seem intimidated. "1 pace," he paused for effect. 12 more and you will be dead." He only had a second to flinch before the effigy struck him in the head and put an end to his cryptic ramblings. If there was ever a time when the old man had been resistant to brute force, it wasn't recent. Jesper looked down at the sculpted stone figure now splattered red. Was it cursed? Was he cursed? He had of course heard stories of curses and never doubted their validity in the past, but now he was standing face to face with the possibility of being cursed. His mind pleaded with him to be skeptical. And if he was cursed, what difference would the knowledge make? A dozen more paces would not be enough to find another living soul, to say nothing of the chances of procuring a remedy. If he did not move from where he stood, he could maybe live another 3 or 4 days, and maybe more given the abundance of nearby berries. A plan that, if we ignore its obvious faults, might provide additional opportunities for help to come along. But what good would it do to be discovered here, beside a body, stolen goods in hand, bloated from berries and raving about a curse that could very well not be real? No, it would most certainly be better to face one's fate now now, take a dozen paces, and see if life goes on. But as Jesper found his legs unable to make the first step, his mind was unable to convince his limbs to waste away 1/12 of his life in one single motion. Feeling the desperation sink in, he hopelessly looked about him for a solution, and if by some stroke of luck the gods had heard his plea, a miracle materialized before him as he found himself suddenly at the end of a fairy tale. 2 white horses and a carriage of golden trim were beside him, the answer to his immediate prayers. He laughed at his fortune and calculated the short number of paces back to the road. 4. Perhaps only 3 if he jumped. He made a quick survey to see if there was anything he wished to grab before taking the plunge. He thought about removing the driver's fancy coat, as it appeared to be some value, but the additional risk of undertaking such a task was too great the chance, and so after profound breath he took his second, third, and fourth steps, though they were quite large. Seated now behind the horse, he reaches for the reins and suddenly realized he was still gripping the effigy. If the curse was real, then it would most certainly have been better left here. And on the other hand, the story was fictitious, then there might be some appraisal that could be made of the figure. It was, after all, found within a lockbox, whose typical function oft secures objects of value. Having witnessed firsthand the horrors of destitution, Jesper found his mind equally reluctant to allow his hand to let go. If it is cursed, I die. If not today, then tomorrow. And if I die, what care have I? With that statement said out loud, to the horses seemingly, Jesper took up the reins with confidence. Damn, this book is intense. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of water. I will be right back. Okay, we are back. I had to pee too. Miller awoke to some light nudging from a familiar foot. Only one person would have the cheek to awaken her in such an ill-mannered fashion. Shaking the sleep from her eyes, she glared up at him in the darkness, but did not say a word. He nudged her again, I'm out of breath, teasingly, and then stepped back into the dim. After taking a moment for her eyes to adjust to the darkness of the cave, Miller remembered. She was on third watch today. Quietly collecting her things and her wits, Miller turned as she left, waving to her young friend who was more than likely already asleep. She crept through the cave's main passage, careful not to wake the sleeping bandits around her. Like a hero in a book, she often mused. Quietly, she grabbed a bow from the haphazard-formed pile of weapons, shaking the accompanying quiver in the darkness to assess how many arrows it held. Then she walked towards the sun-drenched mouth of the cavern, ready to start her shift. Above her, in one of the few trees found in the canyon, Miller could see that Ravia was already posted. She waved and Ravia waved back. Calling out to each other was strictly forbidden. Anything louder than a gesture in the canyon was forbidden. When Miller reached the tree, Ravia lowered a braided rope and pointed to the ground behind her. Miller turned, following the figure, and saw a pail of water resting on a nearby log. She turned back to Ravia, nodded, and secured the pail to the rope. The pail went up first, and in turn, Miller followed. Ravia reached across to grab the water, and Miller leaned back to give her space. There was not much room for maneuvering in this tree post, a necessary concession for the concealment the outpost demanded. Ravia tilted the pail to her mouth dramatically, illustrating how thirsty she had been. Miller laughed silently as water poured out, splashing onto Ravia's face. It was a bit too daring and noisy of a joke, and had others been around, they would have certainly been scolded for the unwarranted sound. But Miller appreciated the efforts Ravia took to verbalize the silence of the morning. They had been on third watch together for over a month, and during the speechless time their friendship had grown into something special. Affection was unsurprisingly scarce among the unholy hounds. She'd felt camaraderie before, of course, but intimacy never. From their elevated vantage, the girls could see both the concealed entrance of the cavern as well as a clear view of the bridge that spanned across the cavern. Blackbridge was the link between the Gentry lands and the northern mountains, an overpass that connected Orris and Reddington. The city ferrying travelers of the realm, the bridge was an unavoidable crossing. In the day, the task was to ensure that travelers passed by without stopping. At night, the task was to ensure that they do. Like most of her band, Miller preferred the night. The biting glare of the sun might be tolerable to farmhands and bricklayers, but to a cavern-house bandit, it was a source of constant annoyance. In the day, there was no shroud to conceal her expression, nor to hide her thoughts. She felt exposed. Ravia touched her elbow and pointed up. Miller, striving to suppress a budding smile, suddenly shook her head in response. There were many signs in the unholy hounds used in lieu of words, but the two of them had developed an extended vocabulary. Gestures quietly forged in the shared solitude of their month among the branches. She watched as Ravia shifted, placing her palms flat on the floorboards beneath them. Miller knew what she was trying to say, but shook her head the second time. It was almost more fun to pretend not to understand. Ravia rolled her eyes and turned away, looking back into the canyon. Squinting through the leaves, the two girls held still, watching and listening. It was not long until Miller, too, heard the sounds of an approach. Ravia held up two bent fingers, and a moment later 2 men emerged from the bridge's southern end. They were dressed in a familiar uniform, long gray coats with black facings, white waistcoats, and black tricorn hats. They belonged to the local patrol, the Blackguard. Although not an everyday occurrence, their presence at Blackbridge was not an unusual sight. It typically indicated an important traveler's impending passage across the bridge, information that the girls would promptly relay to the leader as soon as the coast was clear. But this report, while exciting, was rarely acted upon. In Miller's 5 years in the Unholy Hounds, she had never once seen a carriage take an open daylight when Blackguard was nearby. The men had nearly reached the bridge's north end when Miller heard the horses, faintly at first but growing louder with each passing moment. Ravia's eyes met Miller's, and the same concern monitored each other's expression. This did not sound like the typical carriage, cautiously approaching the bridge to cross. Instead, the familiar crunch of high-road gravel they had heard against the harsh clattering of hoofbeats against stone. Both girls quickly redirected their attention downward, looking through the foliage. The sounds were not coming from the high road, but from the canyon itself. The horses were from below the bridge. In an instant, Miller had knocked an arrow and drawn her bow. Go. Ravia was gone before the whisper had even left Miller's mouth. The young scout was already sliding down the bank below, racing towards the cave. There's no road that ran below the canyon. There's no reason for the numerous horses to be approaching the cave. There's only one reasonable conclusion, and both girls had reached it instantly. Their base had been compromised. This was a Blackguard attack. The moment the horses came into view, Miller let loose her first arrow. She was surprised to see a carriage. She had expected a cavalry, but before she even processing the thought, her second arrow was in the air. Without a trail, it would be unthinkable for the carriage to traverse such rough terrain, yet she watched as the wheels jolted over the rocky riverbed. A third arrow was now in flight, and there would be no need for a fourth. The driver slumped over in moments before the vehicle dipped into a small ditch and slammed into the embankment. The force of this sudden halt was immediately shattered the front 2 wheels and catapulted the driver from the seat. Utterly confused now, Miller glanced over her shoulder to see if any horses were approaching from the rear. Down in the canyon, the entire horde of the Unholy Hounds came spilling forth from the earth as if hell had suddenly sprung open. The group seemed more bewildered than Miller, half asleep and tripping over each other in a desperate attempt to engage an unseen enemy in combat. Miller could see Ravinia in their number, only one looking up at her. Her expression was chilling. There's no need for a giant silent gesture to convey what they both now realized. They had made a mistake. Their gang's chieftain, Jeffrey Heartslasher, led the others, cautiously approaching the crashed carriage like a suspicious fox would near a baited trap. There were no words exchanged as the group crept forward in customary silence. A dozen or so paces in the front of the wreckage lay a far-flung driver, an arrow protruding from his broken body, and beside him a blood-stained effigy carved in stone. Miller was inconsolable. Jesper had always been her favorite. He had always shadowed her in the night, clinging to the hems of her every move, the way a child tails behind an older sibling. Tender-hearted she had always called him, though deep down she had known it wasn't quite true. His appearance of gentleness concealed a raw, resilient durability that emerged from the most perilous of situations. He had been a flower among the nettles of the cavern, but he had still had thorns, honed by a grim past and hundreds of hands of misfortune. They buried him in the darkness, in the back of one of the larger cavern rooms. He was interred with a berry basket and a silk handkerchief he had treasured. But the mysterious effigy they had found beside him served as a distinguished gravestone, a marker that stood out somewhat special among the rows of similar swords marking neighboring plots. No one spoke, not even whispers. There was nothing to say. Oh, look at the symbol right there. Miller awoke the next day to a thunderous shaking and rattling of the earth, a far cry from the playful nudging of the previous day. She strained to adjust her eyes, but the choking sting of stirred-up dust caused her to flinch. Panic was in the air. The sound of scurried footsteps and clattering feet filled the space around her, but even in alarm, the silence was louder. What was it that sounded so strange? Miller closed her eyes tight and used her feet to guide her along the passage. The whispers around her were getting louder, and the intense voices could be heard ahead. Louder speech than she had ever heard spoken in the canyon. A growing dread grew as Miller approached the mouth of the cave. Her eyes now opened wide despite the dust. Shouldn't it be day? Miller felt a hand in the darkness pulling at her. It was Ravinia. The two embraced, and Miller now did not need to understand. Ravinia placed two bent fingers against Miller's cheek. And with that touch against her face, Miller felt the same sinking feeling of the previous day. Two bent fingers confirmed what Miller suspected. The girls had forgotten to relay one critical piece of information to the other. An hour or so later, the screams began. Blood-curdling cries of hopeless desperation. Captain Froderick Lee of the Blackguard looked down from the ridge at the canyon to the collapsed entrance of the cave. Ah, he grinned. Now they speak. Wow. Okay. Herbert's medal for naming the Blackbridge Grotto after that story. Holy shit. Oh my gosh. That was a long one. If you stuck with me through that all, thank you for listening. And hopefully it wasn't too bad. I'm pretty good at reading out loud, but sometimes I trip over my words. And my throat was kind of struggling towards the end there. But, whew. That was a very intense story. I'm kind of curious if there's any implications of reading that story. The 13 steps was, like, crazy. And it's funny because he didn't even make any more steps. I'm gonna do this because then we can draft off the antechamber. We'll take the key. Okay, I guess this is helpful. Okay, that sucks. Cool, great. I already bought everything today. Oh well. We will go down. There's not really a reason to eat the food, I guess. I mean, why not? For funsies. So we will go down and head back. And if we need to come back up and check something after, we definitely will have steps. We will open the sanctum door. I still feel like I don't have enough information in my notes to solve some of those sanctum puzzles, so we will probably just open the door and call it good. Let's go do that first, and then we will go down below and see if we can open some more of those. I just realized that I probably should have been taking pictures of the Morgi boxes, because that one had green and a triangle. So I wonder, hold on, I didn't even have my notebook out. So I wonder if the triangle is green. Where's my notes? I feel like we saw one of the other two puzzles. So this was the one that we solved today, but I feel like we've seen these two as well. I just don't remember. I know that pink's a color, and I know that the image that we have from the Lost and Found is pink. Do I just want to open them in order? Yeah, let's just open them in order. And we're not going to try to solve it today. I have 3 that I need to solve still. I need the, this one, and this one. I know that there's passports in the vault, which may have more, like, sigils on them. Otherwise, I want to get that book into the library, the unredacted version, so that I have a chance to learn more about the different countries. And then I also wonder if there's more information in the classrooms, because that was like kind of the information I was getting. And if I remember correctly, I think there was a geography day, and I didn't like know to take pictures back then. It's so crazy to me that I went, the sanctum key is in a blue box. Okay, so that's a lie. And then I read one back here. Sanctum key is in a black box. And then I was like, oh, okay, interesting. Oh, this is a black box. So crazy. We have 5 keys. Let's just open a few. A prize is in a box marked by that sign. Let's look for that sign. Let's check it out. Maybe we'll get some keys. The sanctum key is in a white box. Oh, I think the green lies, because the sanctum key was in a black box. Maybe the prize is in a different one. Somebody's yelling. I'm kind of just randomly opening shit. Only one box in the reservoir has a prize. Ooh. But we don't know if that's true, because I can't tell what green means yet. Green memos and blue boxes are true. Interesting. What was the other ones that we saw? Okay, I guess I did not take a picture of it. Well, we'll just pick a random one. Let's pick this blue one. I feel good about this one. All green memos found in boxes in the water are true. Okay. So that's a lie. Well, we opened quite a few. So we're getting there. The next couple episodes, we're gonna take our end of day keys, if we have keys and steps, and go do that. Well, I don't know if there's anything else to do. We resolved a lot. We opened another sigil key. I don't see a reason. We don't have the ability to make the burning glass. So I think we go check something. I'll probably check the magnifying. Oh, but then we won't be able to get it. And it's a really easy item to get. I might check the electromagnet because when you check something, it doesn't allow it to populate, and the magnifying glass is one of the items that you pick up the most often. So honestly, I might just check the electromagnet because it was a really cool magic item that did a lot for us, and call it a day. This was also really good information. Unfortunately, we did not have the way to get to the back of it close enough. Very unfortunate, but it's okay. It's okay. Ding. Let's check the powered electromagnet. Okay. Well then, I think that this is where we are going to call it for the day. There's not much more to do at the moment, and yeah, I'm excited to play more. Hopefully this one doesn't sound as shitty as the last couple have. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you enjoy in the comment section. Ooh, let's see what we get. Okay. Garden shopping hall. Nice. We still had so many steps. And we did get 2 new rooms. We got the solarium, and what was the other new room? There's one that I hadn't drafted yet, but I like knew of. Maybe the mechanarium. This was cool too. Okay. But anyways, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you enjoyed in the comment section down below, and I will catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.